Hip-hop is buzzing, and the tension between two of the biggest names in the game is reaching a boiling point. Sources close to the scene claim that Drake is not just casually stirring the pot. He's actively preparing for a round 2 against Kendrick Lamar, and is calling himself the real Boogeyman in the process. While both artists have long dominated the charts and redefined modern rap, this latest escalation hints at a personal and creative rivalry that could redefine the industry's landscape. Fans and insiders are left asking, what sparked this round 2? And just how far is Drake willing to go to assert his dominance? The rivalry between Drake and Kendrick has always been subtle yet intense. From chart battles to lyrical jabs hidden in songs, the two have constantly tested each other's influence and creativity. But now, sources suggest that Drake is taking things to a whole new level. By labeling himself the real Boogeyman, he's signaling that he's not just competing, he's coming for control of the narrative, aiming to outshine Kendrick in both artistry and impact. Industry insiders say this isn't just about music. It's about legacy, pride, and proving who truly holds sway over the rap game. Social media has already exploded with speculation. Fans are divided, some rooting for Drake to finish what he started, while others support Kendrick, calling him the lyrical king who cannot be dethroned. Analysts are dissecting every verse, lyric, and public comment, searching for hidden jabs and subliminal messages. This rivalry isn't just entertainment. It's become a cultural event, drawing attention from the entire music industry and beyond. Sources indicate that behind the scenes, Drake is strategically crafting his next moves. Studio sessions, collaborations, and even public statements are reportedly part of a calculated plan to send a clear message to Kendrick and the hip-hop world. He's ready, he's focused, and is embracing the Boogeyman persona to shake the game. Every move, every track, and every lyric is being viewed as a potential escalation in this high-stakes battle. The implications are massive. This isn't just a feud over charts or streaming numbers. It's a clash of legacies, creativity, and influence. As Drake gears up for what insiders call round 2, the rap world is on edge, waiting to see who will emerge as the ultimate victor, and whether Kendrick Lamar is ready to face a challenger calling himself the real Boogeyman. The Drake versus Kendrick Lamar rivalry has long been simmering under the surface, but sources say the feud is now entering what insiders are calling round 2. Unlike past tensions that were subtle or buried in lyrics, this new escalation is reportedly personal, strategic, and potentially career-defining. Drake, sources claim, is embracing the persona of the real Boogeyman, signaling that he is not here to play, he's here to dominate. The term itself, according to insiders, reflects his mindset, calculated, intimidating, and willing to take any move necessary to assert his influence over Kendrick and the broader hip-hop landscape. Fans are already dissecting every lyric, post, and interview, trying to detect hidden jabs or references, while industry insiders are closely watching the unfolding drama. To understand why Drake is allegedly preparing for a second round against Kendrick, it's important to look back at their history. The two artists have never openly feuded in the traditional sense, but the tension has always been present. Chart dominance, lyrical skill, public perception, and cultural influence are all areas where both men have competed, sometimes directly and sometimes indirectly. Drake has consistently dominated mainstream audiences, breaking streaming records, topping charts, and winning multiple awards. Kendrick, on the other hand, has carved out a reputation as the lyrical king, revered for his storytelling, depth, and ability to challenge the very fabric of hip-hop. The clash, insiders say, is as much about artistry and legacy as it is about personal pride. Sources suggest that Drake's adoption of the real Boogeyman persona is a calculated move to send a message. It's not just about being feared or respected. It's about asserting psychological dominance in a rivalry where perception is key. In hip-hop, image, narrative, and influence often carry as much weight as bars and beats. By branding himself this way, Drake is signaling that he is fully aware of Kendrick's impact, but he is prepared to take bold steps to challenge it. The strategy appears to involve a combination of lyrical precision, high-profile collaborations, and careful social media maneuvers to position himself as the unavoidable force in the game. The reaction from fans has been immediate and intense. Social media platforms are filled with speculation, memes, and debates. Some fans are rooting for Drake, praising his ambition, his ability to stay relevant, and his willingness to confront Kendrick directly. Others defend Kendrick, emphasizing his artistry, his storytelling, and his reputation as a lyrical genius who cannot be challenged by mainstream metrics or hype. The debate has gone beyond music, touching on culture, credibility, and the very definition of influence in hip-hop. Every tweet, post, and comment adds fuel to the fire, intensifying the tension between the two camps. Behind the scenes, insiders claim that Drake is meticulously planning his approach. Studio sessions are reportedly more strategic, with tracks being crafted to balance commercial appeal with lyrical subtlety. Collaborators and producers are said to be fully aware of the narrative at play, ensuring that each move contributes to a larger story that positions Drake as the real boogeyman. Public statements, interviews, and even social media posts are reportedly timed and calculated to maximize impact, sending subtle messages to Kendrick, fans, and the industry at large. Meanwhile, Kendrick's camp remains focused on artistry, reportedly choosing to let his music speak for itself. While he has not publicly addressed Drake's real boogeyman persona, insiders suggest that he is aware of the challenge and is carefully monitoring the situation. The tension is building not just between the artists themselves, but also between their fan bases, the media, and the wider hip-hop community, all of whom are watching closely to see who will make the next move. What makes this round 2 particularly intriguing is the high stakes. Unlike previous rivalries that relied solely on lyrics or social media, this battle combines influence, artistry, reputation, and legacy. Drake's moves are calculated to assert dominance, while Kendrick's legacy is rooted in respect, depth, and credibility. Fans and insiders alike recognize that this is more than just a feud. It's a test of strategy, creativity, and psychological prowess. The outcome could redefine how rivalries are perceived in modern hip-hop and determine who truly controls the narrative of influence. As round 2 unfolds, the hip-hop world is holding its breath. Every track, every statement, and every public interaction is being analyzed for signs of escalation or victory. Drake's real boogeyman persona adds a layer of intensity that suggests this battle will not remain behind the scenes or in subtle subliminals. Instead, it is shaping up to be a high-stakes clash that could define careers, fan allegiances, and the very direction of the genre. One thing is certain, the rap world has never seen a round 2 quite like this, and fans, media, and insiders are all watching, waiting to see who will emerge on top. As the Drake vs. Kendrick Lamar saga intensified, the strategy behind round 2 began to take shape, according to sources close to the scene. Drake's camp is reportedly leaving nothing to chance. Studio sessions, collaborations, and even public statements are being carefully orchestrated to project dominance and psychological pressure. The real boogeyman persona, insiders claim, is more than just a nickname. It's a calculated brand positioning intended to unsettle Kendrick, the industry, and even fans. Every move Drake makes now is strategic, aimed at controlling the narrative while reminding everyone that he remains one of the most influential forces in hip-hop. Industry insiders explain that this round is not about chart supremacy alone. While Drake has consistently outperformed Kendrick in streaming numbers and mainstream visibility, Kendrick's artistry has long commanded respect from critics, peers, and hardcore hip-hop fans. The tension is rooted in contrasting forms of power. Drake represents mass appeal, marketing genius, and chart dominance, while Kendrick embodies lyrical precision, creative depth, and cultural respect. Drake's latest move suggests that he intends to bridge these worlds, asserting influence while simultaneously challenging Kendrick's supremacy in artistry. Sources claim that Drake is using a multi-pronged approach. First, he is reportedly crafting tracks with layered lyrics, subtle subliminals aimed at Kendrick that are powerful enough to stir conversation without directly attacking him. Second, he is strategically aligning with collaborators and producers who amplify his boogeyman persona, ensuring that every beat, hook, and feature contributes to a larger narrative. Third, His social media activity is being carefully timed, with posts, stories, and cryptic comments designed to dominate the conversation while keeping Kendrick and the public on edge. The goal, insiders say, is psychological dominance as much as musical influence. Fans have quickly noticed the signals. Social media platforms are buzzing with speculation about hidden messages, potential subliminals, and possible responses from Kendrick. Some fans have praised Drake's strategy, calling it masterful and clever, while others warn that he may be overplaying his hand, risking backlash if Kendrick chooses to respond with a strong lyrical counterattack. Memes, viral threads, and video compilations dissecting every verse and post have turned the rivalry into a cultural spectacle, extending beyond music into the realm of social commentary, fandom politics, and internet culture. Meanwhile, Kendrick's camp remains tight-lipped but observant. Insiders suggest that Kendrick is aware of the challenge but prefers to respond through artistry rather than hype or social media theatrics. Known for his meticulous approach to music, Kendrick is reportedly analyzing every Drake release, every lyric, and every public interaction to determine if and how he should respond. This methodical preparation underscores the contrast between the two artists. Drake thrives on public strategy and psychological pressure, while Kendrick relies on craft, precision, and a controlled reveal of his responses. The rivalry has also begun to influence the music industry at large. Labels, promoters, and collaborators are paying close attention to both camps, understanding that every release, collaboration, and feature now carries additional narrative weight. Artists, fans, and commentators alike are tuning in, recognizing that this isn't just a feud between two rappers, it's a contest of influence, legacy, and narrative control that could redefine how rivalries are perceived in modern hip-hop. Analysts note that the stakes are unprecedented. It's not merely about who sells more or streams more. It's about who shapes the conversation and asserts cultural dominance. Behind the scenes, insiders claim that Drake's confidence is bolstered by his track record of adaptability. While Kendrick is celebrated for his careful approach to music and public image, Drake has historically demonstrated an uncanny ability to dominate both mainstream and niche markets simultaneously. The real Boogeyman persona, insiders suggest, is his way of signaling that he is prepared to do whatever it takes, lyrically, strategically, and psychologically, to assert control over this round of the rivalry. Every interview, post, and track is designed to reinforce that image, sending a clear warning that he is fully aware of Kendrick's influence and is ready to challenge it. Fan speculation continues to dominate social media. Every new release or tease from Drake sparks viral threads dissecting potential subliminals aimed at Kendrick, while fans debate possible responses and outcomes. The intensity of this online discourse highlights the unprecedented cultural stakes of Round 2. Unlike traditional rivalries that remain confined to lyrics or performance, this battle spans music, social media, and cultural influence, making each move potentially decisive in shaping public perception. As Round 2 unfolds, the tension escalates not just between the artists but across the entire hip-hop ecosystem. Drake's calculated moves, Kendrick's measured silence, and the fervor of fans, media, and industry insiders have created a scenario where every lyric, every post, and every beat carries significant weight. The coming weeks could determine who emerges with the upper hand in influence, artistry, and legacy, and whether Drake's real Boogeyman persona will truly define this round of the rivalry. As Round 2 between Drake and Kendrick Lamar unfolded, the focus began to shift from speculation to strategy. Sources close to both camps suggest that Kendrick is fully aware of Drake's real Boogeyman persona and the psychological pressure being applied. While Drake is making calculated moves in the public eye, strategically releasing tracks, cryptic social media posts, and collaborations, Kendrick is reportedly taking a more measured approach. Insiders claim that Kendrick is analyzing every signal, every lyric, and every public appearance, waiting for the perfect moment to respond in a way that reinforces his artistry without falling into a public spectacle. This contrast and strategy is part of what makes Round 2 so compelling. It is not simply a battle of streams, but a clash of creative philosophies and long-term influence. Drake's recent maneuvers have certainly grabbed attention. Studio insiders report that the rapper has been meticulously crafting tracks designed to strike a balance between commercial appeal and subliminal lyrical messages aimed at Kendrick. These are not overt disses. Instead, they function as strategic jabs, lines that signal dominance, influence, and readiness to assert control over the narrative. Coupled with his real Boogeyman branding, the moves are designed to generate conversation, provoke speculation, and maintain momentum in the eyes of fans, industry peers, and Kendrick's camp. Every post and lyric is analyzed for hidden meanings, and the public response feeds directly into the tension of the feud. Fans have become increasingly invested, creating an atmosphere reminiscent of classic rap rivalries but on a larger, more interactive scale. Social media platforms are flooded with threads breaking down potential subliminals, memes speculating on responses, and debates over which artist holds the upper hand. Some fans support, while others defend Kendrick, emphasizing his artistic integrity and lyrical mastery. The debate has expanded beyond music, touching on culture, legacy, and influence. Every fan reaction becomes a signal that feeds the narrative, amplifying the intensity of round two. While Drake's strategy relies on public visibility and psychological pressure, Kendrick's camp reportedly values patience and precision. Sources indicate that Kendrick has been in the studio, preparing tracks that could respond to Drake without creating unnecessary spectacle. Unlike Drake, Kendrick is not just fighting for dominance in the mainstream. He is fighting for artistic credibility, legacy, and respect among peers. His approach appears to focus on substance over hype, relying on the strength of his music and lyrical skill to assert influence when the moment is right. This strategic patience adds layers of complexity to the rivalry, creating a chess match between public perception and artistic execution. Media coverage has amplified every development. News outlets, entertainment channels, and online publications are dissecting lyrics, public statements, and social media activity, often interpreting subtle cues as part of the feud. Analysts debate potential outcomes, speculate on subliminals, and discuss the broader implications for both artists' legacies. Some argue that Drake's approach is dominating public conversation and cultural attention, while others point out that Kendrick's measured strategy maintains long-term respect and credibility. The media frenzy has transformed round two into a spectacle where perception is just as important as reality, and where each move could tip the balance in influence, streams, or fan allegiance. Insiders also note that the rivalry has affected collaborators and industry figures. Producers, features, and label executives are reportedly aware of the tension and are cautious in their interactions, knowing that every connection could be scrutinized by fans, media, or even the artists themselves. The competitive environment is forcing stakeholders to carefully manage timing, releases, and collaborations, further intensifying the stakes of the feud. For Drake, this extends the Boogeyman strategy beyond music into cultural influence. For Kendrick, it emphasizes strategic silence and measured responses as tools of power. The fan ecosystem is a battlefield in itself. Social media engagement has skyrocketed, with debates, polls, and viral content dissecting every perceived jab, subliminal, and potential retaliation. TikTok videos, YouTube reaction content, and Instagram memes keep the feud trending, turning round two into a multi-platform cultural phenomenon. Every interaction, whether a fan comment or viral clip, feeds the narrative, amplifying tension, speculation, and investment in the outcome. As round two progresses, the stakes continue to rise. Drake's calculated strategy and real Boogeyman persona are designed to dominate the conversation and provoke a response, while Kendrick's measured approach ensures that any retaliation carries artistic weight and credibility. Every track, post, and collaboration becomes part of a larger narrative about influence, legacy, and strategy in modern hip-hop. Fans, media, and insiders alike are waiting to see who will take control, who will respond with precision, and how this high-stakes clash will ultimately shape the careers and cultural influence of two of rap's most iconic figures. As round two of the Drake vs. Kendrick-Lamar rivalry gained momentum, the tension began to spill into public view. While the earlier phases had relied on subtle signals, cryptic social media posts, and carefully crafted tracks. Insiders suggest that Drake's real Boogeyman persona was now influencing how fans, media, and the industry perceived the feud. Each new lyric, interview, or post was scrutinized for subliminal messages, and every move became fodder for speculation. The intensity of this second phase elevated the rivalry beyond typical chart battles, turning it into a cultural event that captivated not only hip-hop fans but mainstream audiences as well. Drake's strategy appeared deliberate. Sources say that he was intensifying his presence across social media, teasing unreleased tracks, and hinting at hidden messages aimed at Kendrick. The Boogeyman branding was part of this calculated approach, designed to signal dominance and create psychological pressure. Every post, whether a cryptic Instagram story, a subtle tweet, or a line in a new track, was analyzed by fans and media for hidden meaning. According to insiders, this phase was about controlling the narrative, dominating cultural conversation, and asserting influence not just over Kendrick, but over the hip-hop ecosystem as a whole. Fans were quick to respond. Social media exploded with theories, debates, and reactions. Some argued that Drake's moves were brilliant, a masterclass in strategy, marketing, and hype. Others defended Kendrick, suggesting that his measured silence was a sign of confidence, patience, and an understanding of long-term influence. The divide between the two fan bases became increasingly pronounced, with hashtags, memes, and viral threads spreading across platforms. The intensity of these reactions created a feedback loop, amplifying the feud while giving each artist more attention, engagement, and influence than ever before. Meanwhile, Kendrick's camp reportedly remained focused on craft. Sources indicate that Kendrick was in the studio, carefully preparing responses through his music rather than relying on social media theatrics or public commentary. Known for his meticulous approach, he is said to be analyzing Drake's tracks, messages, and public statements to determine when and how to respond. This contrast between Drake's overt, psychologically charged approach and Kendrick's quiet, calculated strategy highlighted the difference in tactics, turning round two into a complex chess match rather than a straightforward clash of charts or streams. Media coverage intensified, transforming the feud into one of hip-hop's most widely discussed stories in years. News outlets, entertainment channels, and online platforms dissected each verse, lyric, and cryptic social media post. Analysts debated potential subliminals, the implications of Drake's real Boogeyman branding, and how Kendrick might respond. Every public action was interpreted as a move in the battle, with some commentators arguing that Drake was dominating the narrative and others insisting that Kendrick's silent strategy was positioning him for a devastating lyrical comeback. The media frenzy further elevated the stakes, ensuring that this rivalry was about more than music. It was now about legacy, influence, and cultural perception. Industry insiders also weighed in, noting that the rivalry was impacting collaborations, label decisions, and promotional strategies. Producers, artists, and executives were reportedly monitoring the feud closely, aware that even minor associations with either camp could influence perception and engagement. The attention from fans and media meant that every track, collaboration, TikTok, YouTube reactions, and Instagram threads dissected each move, amplifying both artists' influence while also creating a sense of immediacy and drama. The online conversation became a virtual battlefield, with memes, polls, and debates fueling speculation and heightening anticipation for Kendrick's next move. The intensity of fan engagement reflected the broader stakes. This was more than a rivalry. It was a cultural moment that had captured the attention of the entire music world. As the feud reached this heightened phase, the stakes could not have been higher. Drake's psychological strategy, branding, and carefully timed moves positioned him as an aggressive force in round two, while Kendrick's measured silence and focus on craft suggested a counter-strategy designed for maximum impact. Each artist's approach reflected their strengths, Drake leveraging influence and perception, Kendrick relying on artistry and credibility. Fans, media, and industry insiders eagerly awaited the next steps, knowing that the unfolding events would define not just the rivalry but the broader landscape of hip-hop. Round two had transformed from a subtle, behind-the-scenes battle into a highly visible cultural phenomenon. Every move was now part of a larger narrative, a high-stakes interplay of strategy, artistry, and influence. Drake's real boogeyman persona, Kendrick's meticulous preparation, fan engagement, and media coverage combined to create a scenario where every lyric, post, and track could shift the balance of power. The stage was set for what many insiders predicted would be the most dramatic and consequential chapter in this ongoing saga, and the entire hip-hop world was watching closely. As round 2 between Drake and Kendrick Lamar reached its peak, the tension that had been simmering for months finally began to erupt into the public eye. Insiders suggest that Kendrick was finally ready to respond, not with impulsive statements or social media jabs, but with precision, artistry, and a carefully crafted lyrical strategy designed to counter Drake's real boogeyman persona. While Drake had dominated the narrative in the preceding months through psychological tactics, strategic posts, and subliminal tracks, Kendrick's methodical approach aimed to turn the battle back in his favor, highlighting his depth, credibility, and control over the craft itself. Reports indicate that Kendrick's team had been monitoring every Drake move, from lyrical subtleties in songs to cryptic social media posts, before crafting a response that would resonate both lyrically and culturally. Sources say that Kendrick's approach focused on nuance, storytelling, and multi-layered wordplay, designed not only to address Drake's provocations but to reinforce his legacy as one of hip-hop's most respected and influential artists. Unlike Drake, whose strategy relied on visibility, hype, and psychological pressure, Kendrick's plan was rooted in substance, a slow-building crescendo that aimed to dominate the narrative through artistry rather than spectacle. Fans were quick to notice the shift. As rumors spread that Kendrick had dropped hints about his response in upcoming tracks, social media exploded with speculation, memes, and viral discussion. Analysts and commentators dissected every lyric, every teaser, and every public appearance, looking for signs of subliminals directed at Drake. The fan-base divide became more pronounced, with some praising Drake's bold and aggressive strategy, while others celebrated Kendrick's patience, lyrical prowess, and masterful timing. The rivalry had grown into a cultural phenomenon, transcending music to influence fashion, memes, and online communities across multiple platforms. Drake, aware that Kendrick's response was imminent, reportedly doubled down on his real boogeyman branding. Insiders suggest that he was crafting his next release with a dual purpose, maintaining dominance over the narrative while preparing a rebuttal in case Kendrick's lyrics struck hard. Every studio session, collaboration, and social media post was strategically timed to sustain momentum, ensuring that he remained the central figure in fan discussions and media coverage. Drake's moves reflected not only confidence in his own craft, but also an understanding of the psychological game at play, keeping Kendrick and fans on edge while positioning himself as a commanding force in round 2. The media frenzy reached unprecedented levels. Music channels, entertainment outlets, and social media influencers dissected every nuance of both artists' activity. Analysts debated potential subliminals, predicted possible lyrical counters, and speculated about which artist might emerge with the upper hand. Coverage was relentless, amplifying the stakes and ensuring that every release or statement was interpreted as a decisive move. The narrative extended beyond the artists themselves, influencing collaborators, industry executives, and even sponsors, all of whom were navigating a delicate balance of association and public perception. Behind the scenes, sources report that both camps were acutely aware of the high stakes. Collaborators, producers, and label executives were carefully strategizing, knowing that any misstep could shift the balance of power or fan sentiment. Drake's boogeyman persona had succeeded in keeping the pressure on Kendrick, but Kendrick's carefully timed, artistry-focused approach threatened to disrupt that control, demonstrating the complex chess match at the heart of the rivalry. Each artist's next move carried weight, not just for their careers, but for their legacies and influence over the broader hip-hop community. Fans and observers were captivated by the unfolding drama. TikTok videos, YouTube reactions, and Instagram threads dissected every verse, meme, and public statement. The rivalry had become interactive, with fan speculation driving online discourse and amplifying the narrative. The combination of anticipation, cultural significance, and media coverage made this one of the most high-profile conflicts in hip-hop history, with every track, post, and reaction analyzed in real time. By the time Kendrick's first major lyrical response dropped, the stage had been set perfectly. Sources claim that his tracks struck with precision, addressing Drake's subliminals, reinforcing his artistry, and asserting dominance through lyrical complexity and cultural awareness. Fans and analysts alike immediately recognized the weight of the response, with many suggesting that Kendrick had successfully countered Drake's psychological strategy without compromising his credibility or artistry. The moment marked a turning point in round 2, signaling that this rivalry was no longer just about hype, streams, or social media presence. It had become a battle of legacies, influence, and creative mastery. Drake's subsequent response, insiders say, was measured but strategic. Rather than overreacting, he continued to release tracks and social media hints that maintained his real Boogeyman persona while allowing Kendrick's artistry to stand, demonstrating confidence in his own narrative and ability to dominate cultural conversation. The back-and-forth elevated round 2 into a high-stakes chess match between two of the greatest artists of their generation, with fans, media, and industry insiders witnessing a rivalry that would shape hip-hop's landscape for years to come. As round 2 reached its peak, the lesson became clear. This feud was about more than music. It was about influence, strategy, legacy, and the power of perception. Drake and Kendrick had transformed a rivalry into a cultural phenomenon, proving that in modern hip-hop, battles are fought not just in the studio, but across social media, media coverage, and fan engagement. The unfolding saga promised that round 2 would be remembered as one of the most dramatic, strategic, and impactful chapters in the history of the genre. If the Drake vs. Kendrick round 2 saga had you on the edge of your seat, hit that like button and show your support. This isn't just a music rivalry. It's a high-stakes battle of legacy, strategy, and influence in the world of hip-hop. Subscribe to the channel for more explosive,